Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Good. Okay, now, I want you to raise your hand if you have ever heard a hip-hop song. Wow, that's a lot of people. Okay, cool. That's great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure we're on the same page about exactly what hip-hop is. So I'm going to play 3 songs for you, and I want you to raise your hand if you know that it's hip-hop, okay? Ooh, nice and loud, huh?
Yes, come on, brothers, if you want to hear a story about that preacher and the bear. Gather round, boys, I don't want you to miss none of this here story, because it goes like this. A preacher, a preacher, a preacher, a preacher.
No takers, huh? Okay, how about this one?
How you don't stop. Rock it out, baby, bubba to the boogity bang bang.
Okay, we got a few takers. What about this one?
I got loyalty inside my DNA. Cocaine quarter piece, got more.
That one got the most dancing. But I think most people raised their hand when I played the 1979 hit from the Sugar Hill Gang called Rapper's Delight. Now, why did you consider this to be hip-hop? Was it because there was rapping? The first song I played for you was made in 1941, and there were clearly people rapping even though the word hip-hop hadn't been invented yet. Okay? Was it the beat? Was it the texture? You can answer yes to all of these questions and still be correct, because hip-hop is a culture, and culture is defined by all of its attributes, not just a single aspect. So I want us to continue on this journey and getting on the same page about hip-hop, so I want us to make a hip-hop song together. Now, what I realized is I need the clicker in order to do this. So in 2014, a friend of mine named Mark, who played an important part in the beginning of my hip-hop career, gave this TED Talk on music, and let's watch it. What Mark does in this talk, basically, is he takes the theme song from TED, and he finds a breakbeat in it, and he loops it into a beat. So what I'm going to do is, well, Mark and I went to college together. And what we used to do there is he would make the beats and I would make the raps. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add raps to what Mark did already over the TED Talk beat. I'll play the intro a little longer so you might get a little bit of info as to what he did. You guys recognize that as the beginning of the TED Talk, right? Now what he did was he slowed it down into the speed you hear here. Okay, TED is a global community, giving people from every discipline and culture opportunity to seek a deeper understanding of the world. We believe passionately in the power of the words used to speak ideas and change attitudes, and ultimately lives of men and women around the world. A clearinghouse of free knowledge from the world's most inspired, with a new college, a community of curious souls with the generous goal to engage with each other through the stories we told, through shared times and online. Our mission defined best by one line, and that one line is, how can we best spread great ideas, right? Now I'm going to do that one more time so you understand what I'm saying. Now, I saw a lot of people raise their hand when I said, what is hip-hop? So I assume you've all been to a hip-hop concert. So when I say, what is the one line, how can we best spread great ideas, I want us all to say it together. I'll do the rap one more time so we're on the same page, right? TED is a global community, giving people from every discipline and culture opportunity to seek a deeper understanding of the world. We believe passionately in the power of the word, used to speak ideas and change attitudes, and ultimately lives of men and women around the world. A clearinghouse of free knowledge from the world's most inspired, with a new college, a community of curious souls with the generous goal to engage with each other through the stories we've told, through shared times and online. Our mission described best by one line. How can we best spread great ideas, right? I have the answer to that question, and the answer is hip-hop. The tools and core elements of hip-hop give us all what we need to share knowledge and share ideas. It doesn't matter where you're from or what language you speak. There are 4 core elements of hip-hop. The first is DJing. A DJ is needed because only someone with 2 turntables can keep a breakbeat going long enough for anyone to rap or dance to. Now, this was covered in this Mark talk, and I went over it briefly, when he took the TED theme song and turned it into a breakbeat and looped it, right? The second element is emceeing, or rapping. We covered this when I just took the TED mission statement and transformed it into lyrics for a rap song. The third element is b-boying. Now, I don't really have time or enough space to show off my moves, so I'll just show you this picture. B-boying is also known as breakdancing. Now, the final element is graffiti, or writing. All of us who live here in Berlin or who are visiting can think of the murals we see on the Berlin Wall near the East Side Gallery, right? You can think of modern artists like Hebrew Brantley, Banksy, and Shepard Fairey. The street artists of today are the graffiti artists of the past. And so now that we're clear on what hip-hop is, let's go on to exactly what culture is. I have 3 definitions. I like going in threes. So we had 3 songs, now we got 3 definitions. First, culture is the characteristic features of a way of life shared by people in a place or time. An example of this would be the Scandinavian region of the globe in the 1300s, right? Viking culture, equality between genders on the battlefield, multi-deity worship, and so on and so forth. Second definition, culture is the arts and other manifestations of human intellectual achievement regarded collectively. This definition makes me think of the ancient Greek times, right? Time of philosophy. They created a lot of art, architecture, things that we still draw from today. The final definition is my favorite, and it's the longest. So here we go. Culture is the integrated pattern of human knowledge, belief, and behavior that depends upon the capacity for learning and transmitting knowledge to succeeding generations. My favorite part about this is transmitting knowledge to succeeding generations. This puts culture in the context of survival. The will to survive is the most common human trait, and we cannot survive without culture. One of the first things we teach our young is speaking, reading, and writing, so that they communicate and they can also understand communication. Communication is key for survival, and culture is key for survival. Hip-hop culture itself was created in the late 1970s during a very difficult time in my hometown city of New York, okay? The city was almost bankrupt. Unemployment was really high. There was a very big drug problem, and it was a very violent time. And hip-hop guided people and gave them a way to survive this particular time, okay? Rap songs gave stories, warnings, parties gave people outlets, and murals gave people a voice. Okay, now all the elements of hip-hop culture are artistic, and art is a very, very effective way to communicate. We've all heard the term, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? What would the Last Supper mean to any of us without Leonardo da Vinci's painting, right? This tells us a lot. What would Barack Obama's 2008 campaign have been without the street artist Shepard Fairey's poster, right? These pictures, just with their title and description, can't communicate as much as they can by you looking at them. When you look at them, you immediately receive a lot of information, proving that visual art is more efficient than the written word. Hence the phrase, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now, as impactful as these images are, I think that music is even more impactful. 2 nights ago, when I was preparing for this TED Talk, right, my neighbors decided they wanted to, seriously. My neighbors decided they wanted to blast their music. Now, luckily, they have good taste. The first song they were blasting was by Frank Ocean, and then they went into like a Prince medley. Now, I was in my apartment, and whether I wanted to hear it or not, their music reached me. Music reaches all of us, whether you want it to or not, okay? Not only did it reach me, I could feel it. Music has a vibration, right? So you can literally feel it. And that's why music serves as a platform for our experience, right? Why do nations have anthems and war songs instead of just a flag? Okay? Why does the bride walk down the aisle to music instead of just holding up a sign? Right? Because music can guide our perception of a particular experience. Hip-hop music has always been used to guide social and political perceptions, okay? In 1991, actually, before we go there, in terms of guiding perception, let's talk about what people have said about hip-hop, okay? Rolling Stone magazine, the Chicago Tribune, and Time Out London all named Public Enemy's song, Fight the Power, as one of the most influential songs in history, all right? Public Enemy is a very old-school hip-hop group from the late 80s and early 90s, right? Now, back to what I was saying before, in 1991, the Slobodan Milosevic regime in Serbia had an armed crackdown in Belgrade. And they picked out the radio station B92, and they banned them from transmitting the news. They said, you can't play the news. No more news on the radio. So what did B92 do? They played Public Enemy's Fight the Power over and over again to subvert the ban, because they could express in music what they could not say. Now, why did this group all the way in Serbia choose a song made by a bunch of guys in Long Island, New York City? Because it was hip-hop music. And no genre and no culture is more efficient than hip-hop at transmitting knowledge. In 2014, there was a study by Music Match called The Largest Vocabulary in Music. The genre of hip-hop was found to have an average of 478 unique words per song. The only genre that comes even close is pop with 302. Okay? The average hip-hop song has 1,900 words in it. When you also consider the use of slang, metaphor, and dialect, the depth of this music gets expanded, right? Have anybody heard of the hit Broadway play Hamilton? Okay? We know it's not here, but Lin-Manuel Miranda, the creator of this play, when he went on 60 Minutes, I want to read his quote exactly. He went on 60 Minutes to talk about his play, and he talked about why he used hip-hop. He said, I believe that rap is uniquely suited to tell Hamilton's story because it has more words per measure than any other musical genre. It has rhythm, it has density, and if Hamilton had anything in his writing, it was this density, right? So Lin-Manuel Miranda used the power of hip-hop to put 20,000 words in his play. The audience is hearing up to 144 words per minute. The statistical analysis agency 538 said that if Hamilton had used another genre, the play would have taken 4 to 6 hours, okay? He did it in under 2.5 because of this power and efficiency of hip-hop. Our primary form of communication is the word, right? We speak them, we read them and write them, we sing them. In hip-hop, we also rap them, and in some cases, spell them out in intricate dance moves, okay? And that is because it's so efficient. Nothing communicates as well as hip-hop. This is the only culture that analyzes, creates, and identifies trends in human culture this fast. It is the only culture that transfers, transcribes, and transmits this much knowledge. Okay, so what I want you to do when you leave here, if you aren't already, I want you to listen to some hip-hop music, right? If you're not already. You'll hear a lot of stories about your neighbors. You hear stories from people far away from you, and you'll hear what they're going through. You'll be informed about trends in fashion, technology, science, and plain old just having fun. And beyond just listening to hip-hop, I want you to be inspired by it. Whether or not you choose to learn how to rap or paint big murals or dance, you too can harness this energy to affect change in your community. Think about it. If a group of kids in 1970s New York could create a movement that would one day become the most dominant culture in the world, you can do the same. My name is Ian Lawrence. I'm better known as the hip-hop artist Stimulus, and I thank you for your time.